We like to answer your questions here on the Garden Basics podcast. Danny writes in, Debbie Flower, our favorite college horticultural professor, and Danny asks about feeding his plants, about fertilizer. He wonders that if at a particular temperature plants don't feed, do they just hydrate? And then he asks about what time of day is best for feeding the plants, during the day or at night. Or do they need the sun to eat? These are very difficult questions from Danny.
Well, he's a thinking guy, and that's cool. Like to see that. He's right that research shows that above 86 degrees Fahrenheit, plants don't use fertilizer, use nutrients. They're just pumping water through their system to keep themselves cool, much like a human would sweat in a very hot situation. He asked if they need sun to eat. Is that the term he used? Plants do need sun to make food. Plants are autotrophs, meaning they feed themselves. Auto means self. And they use nutrients, which are gathered primarily through the roots and some from the air, through the stoma, to make their own food. And that food only happens when the plant can collect the energy from the sun or light of some sorts. So yes, they do only use nutrients only use them when they're making their food. But they all have different strategies. I mean, they all basically use the same strategy, but depending on where the plant is living and what it's adapted to, it may collect its nutrients at night only, or it may do it during only some seasons. But when we fertilize, we are just putting nutrients into the growing media. That growing media, in most cases, is the soil outdoors. It can be the soilless mix in a container you have in the house or a greenhouse or whatever, or it can be the liquid solution that you are using in your hydroponic system. Whatever the roots are growing in, that is the media I'm talking about, and that's where the nutrients need to be that the plant will then absorb. We can apply those nutrients at pretty much any time of day or night and pretty much any temperature, with a caveat of really applying above 86 degrees can mess up the plant's ability to absorb water. So we really want to apply the nutrients when it's cooler. But day or night, it doesn't matter. All we're doing is loading the root zone with the nutrients that the plant then will collect when it's ready to make its own food. If you're growing outdoors in the soil, you really, in most cases, only need to be applying nitrogen. And if you're using lots of mulch, you may not even need to apply any synthetic nitrogen at all. Organic matter can apply all that you need. But the source of the nutrients for the plant is the growing media. The growing media, we put the nutrients in, or nature does, by putting, dropping leaves, creating a natural compost below the plant, whatever. Put it in the growing media, and then the plant will take that up when the plant needs it. The one caveat is it's recommended we not fertilize at very high temperatures, let's say above 86 degrees. If we get any on the leaves of the plant, we can cause burning there. If we apply too much fertilizer at any time, we can cause burning because the plant only has a limited ability to choose what it absorbs. If the growing media is just completely full of nutrients and it's above 86 degrees and the plant is trying to just pump water through itself, it may not be able to get just water if there's too much nutrient in the root zone. Too much or applying it, those are the reasons we don't apply when temperatures are very high. We want the plant to be able to get just water to keep itself cool.
Is this true for both synthetic and organic-based fertilizers?
Absolutely. Synthetic fertilizers are very pure for the nutrient you're applying, and we can very easily apply more than the plant can use, and so we can very easily cause fertilizer burn. I can remember burning my corn with ammonium sulfate in a garden I had many decades ago. When we apply organic fertilizers tend to have much lower concentration of nutrients in them, and they are in large molecular sizes and have to be broken down by natural processes. before the plant can get them. So it's a slow release. It happens over time. It happens with activity of weather and microorganisms and macroorganisms like worms that break down that organic material and release those nutrients more slowly. So we tend to be safer applying the organic ones. We tend to have less fertilizer burning with organic ones.
The question people may have, if there's this cutoff point of 86 degrees where you do not fertilize plants if the temperature is over 86 degrees, does it matter if you do it earlier in the morning, or is it better to fertilize with declining temperatures when the temperatures start coming down in late afternoon or early evening? Is that a better time to fertilize than, say, early in the morning?
I can't tell you definitively based on any kind of research whether one is better than the other. You always want to apply fertilizers, especially organic fertilizers. I would put down at any time, even 86 degrees or above, because they are not providing a huge quantity of the kinds of fertilizer molecules that will burn the plant. They're providing very little of that, and they're providing it as a steady stream over long periods of time. If I were using synthetic fertilizers, meaning basically the kinds you buy in a box that has some high numbers on the front, 10, 10, 10 maybe, and you dissolve it in your watering can and go around and water the plants, that I would apply probably in the morning personally, but I don't have any research that says the morning is better than the evening. You just have to be very careful about how much you apply. Too much throws off a lot of chemical and biological things in the soil, and you're doing more damage than good.
Now, earlier in your testimony, Professor Flower, you stated that one should not apply either synthetic or organic fertilizers if the temperature is above 86. Now you're just saying it's okay to fertilize with organic fertilizers if the temperature is over 86. Which is it? Well, and where were you on the night when the plants were being fed?
Okay, in the beginning, I think I just said don't apply fertilizer in general. But if when I'm saying organic fertilizer, I'm thinking of things like compost and manures, dry manures, not fresh manures. Fresh manures have a lot of high concentration. So I guess the cutoff line is not organic versus synthetic. It's the analysis or the quantity of the nutrient that is in that fertilizer. If it's high, above 5%, I wouldn't apply it above 86 degrees ever. If it's low, 1% or below, I wouldn't have any qualms about applying it. And the problem with organic fertilizers, well, if you buy them in a bottle like fish emulsion or something, you do get the analysis listed on the bottle. If you're bringing in compost or mulch, you don't know how much, or even manures that have dried out and sat in the chicken coop. My mother did that. She brought home the chicken manure that had been in her father's chicken coops for decades, was very dry, but was inside the chicken coop, brought it home, put it on the garden, and killed everything immediately. So it really has to do with the concentration of, it's typically nitrogen, but concentration of nutrients in that fertilizer. If they're very high concentration, don't apply them above 86 degrees. They're very low. You can apply them anytime because they're so mild that they're not going to cause osmotic problems or burning on the plant.
So I guess the advice we would have for anybody raising chickens, if you want to use chicken manure in your garden, is to let it sit in a pile for a few months.
Yeah, it's better to put it into a compost pile that contains other things. Chicken manure can really burn things. It can be what we call a hot fertilizer. Hot meaning very high in nutrition, and so high that it burns. The form of a nutrient that the plant can take in is a salt. And salt means it's dissolvable in water and can move to the plant in water. And we eat table salt. Table salt dissolves in water, and that can throw off the plant's ability to absorb water. And that's when we have burn in the plant. Boy, I'm really making it muddier and muddier, aren't I? I'd learned this before, but if we're putting on large quantities of mulch, we don't need to apply any fertilizer at all because the amount of nitrogen in that is ultimately enough.
Yeah, Ed Livo's been saying that for years. Is basically, hey, I just mulch my fruit trees. I don't fertilize them.
Right. Do you want to end this piece? Do you want to say?
Yeah, I guess I should. We learned a lot about fertilization today from Professor Debbie Flower. Debbie, thanks for a few minutes of your time.
You're welcome. I hope it's clearer than mud. But thank you.